How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Lord Unique here, be you, be unique, and today we're talking just a bit of a basic conversation, really, and it's kind of along the lines of just the way the world is, the way people are, the way people act, the way kind of people treat other people, and just the selfish nature of the world, and it's going to kind of be based on, in this particular video, along the lines of like encouragement and giving people the time of day and showing people love and care, because I don't think there's enough of it going on in the world, and I think you would probably all agree with me that that is most certainly the case. There's not enough love in this world. There's not enough support, not enough encouragement for people in this world. Now, I remember the days when I was actually starting out doing this, the whole YouTube skit, and I was kind of telling people about it, and there were certain people that were saying, like, "Oh, you will never make it on there. You'll never be able to become a YouTuber. Yeah, I don't think you've got enough. It's there's kind of people who think they know you, people who think they know your personality, people who think that they kind of can have an opinion on you because they've known you for a short, space of time, and you appear to them quite quiet, or you appear to them to be a bit of an introvert. So it's kind of like, why would you're not going to do anything making YouTube videos. I wouldn't even think you'd find it comfortable to make YouTube videos. Well, here I am making YouTube videos for those people. And obviously there was a time after a certain while where I said, I don't just want to become a YouTuber. I want to become a YouTuber that is looked upon in years to come as a big success. And then there was kind of like laughs and kind of this kind of just overall desire to just mock me, if you know what I mean. And look, I took it on the chin. I don't mind. Like I said, I really don't mind that kind of stuff. I've said it before. I think I don't get discouraged. I may at times lack motivation, but I never get discouraged. It's not something that tends to happen to me. I will always continue to make videos. I'll always continue to believe in myself and what I can do and what I can't do, because I know what I can and can't do, and I know this is something that I can do. But there's people out there, this is the thing, you should always be kind. What is the purpose in being mean or actually discouraging someone? What is the meaning and what is the point of it? If somebody comes up to me and says, I want to be this, I want to be that, a lot of people don't have that kind of, encouragement. Some people would say, a lot of people would obviously say, yeah, go for it, I'm sure you'll do great, but they don't necessarily believe it. But I was speaking to a guy, and this is actually an experience that I had yesterday. It was yesterday. There's an experience I had yesterday while walking through the park. There was a guy who he was walking with a guide dog, and I know this is slightly kind of like off scale, but I'm just thinking about it because it just comes back to something I've talked about previously about people showing other people the time and care, and showing people a bit of attention, because I don't think there's enough love going on in the world. And there was a guy in the park, he was walking with his dog, and he was basically, he was partially blind, and obviously that's why he's got this guide dog. But it kind of made me feel put in my place, because I have spent so many years kind of like complaining about stuff and thinking, oh, like, I wish I was this, I wish I could do that, I wish I could live like this. And then you've got this guy, and I was talking to him for about 30-40 minutes, and he was, he's partially blind, he's got this dog, and we were talking, and he turned to me at a certain point in this conversation, and he said to me, you just have to literally take life as it is. There's no point in moping around, there's no point in being upset. You just have to accept your circumstances, and you have to be happy, because otherwise what's the point in being alive? And I thought, if he can say that, if he can walk around with that mentality, and he's literally, he was telling me that recently he's just had an operation to remove a tumor. Apparently he's had operations in the past because he's had cancer. I think he's had cancer 3 times during the past 10 years. He was literally, like he said it to me, he's blind. He's literally, I think he only has about 10% of his actual vision left. So that's why he's got this dog. He said everything's a blur, but he says, you know what? I'm still alive and I'm still happy. And I'm thinking, and there's me complaining, saying, I wish I was this, I wish I could do that, I wish I could have this, I wish I could have that. And this guy's literally walking around, practically blind, he's literally recovering from having a tumour removed, and he's just literally just seemed high on life. At every 10-15 seconds he was laughing, he was just smiling. I thought, this guy is just like, those are the kind of people I love being actually involved with or being generally around, because they just are so positive, and they find positivity through everything, or through no matter what circumstances they're going through, they just find positivity from it, and they just look at life in a different way. And like I said, in terms of like he actually mentioned as well to me that not a lot of people come up to him and talk to him. He said, I'm the only person this week that's actually bothered to speak to him. He said people have come past and said hello or just hey, but I'm the only person who's actually stopped and spoke to him in like just over a week. He says people just don't give people the time of day, and he said people are so rude, and he said people are just they just don't care about people just don't care about each other. People just literally don't care about each other. People are always in a rush, living their own lives, you know, being concerned about all these trivial things and things that come the end of your life, they don't really matter. And he was just talking to me about 20-30 minutes, saying how people just are so rude. They're all wrapped up in their own little worlds, their own little existences, and they don't have time to care or consider other people. And honestly, that is literally the world now. And it's crazy. I was in town a couple of weeks back, and there was a guy. There was like this under this little bridge. There was a homeless guy, and there was these kind of like he was trying to talk to this woman, and she just basically kind of just turned to him with like this little bit of a scowl of a look, and then walked off. And then I literally stopped for about 5-10 minutes to talk to this guy who was homeless, and we were having like a nice, pleasant chat. But it just made me think, there's no compassion, there's no real care. And going back to the whole, encouragement thing and giving people praise and giving people confidence. This guy, right, like I said, he was homeless, but I walked into town, right, and I thought I was dressed relatively smart. I had a blue shirt on, white jeans, gold shoes, because I've actually got some golden shoes. And he was complimenting me on how I looked, and it kind of gave me like a confidence boost, And I've actually done it to people where people have been walking, and I've been getting into it. I've got into a chat with them, and I've just basically just some random girl or guy, and I've just randomly complimented their hair or their clothes, and you can see that it makes their day. They smile, they look happy, and you just think to yourself, I could have made that person's day. There was a guy I think it was a couple of probably about 2-3 months ago, who his dog had literally got off the lead, so I was literally like helping him, and he was like he was so appreciative. And you've got so many people that just see stuff and just carry on, they just carry on. They just think, oh, I can't be asked with that hassle. I've been past people that are literally like, I think there was like last year there was an old guy in his front garden, and I think it was like one of the hot days, and he was like, you could see the heat was like getting to him. He was quite old, and he was like leaning on the wall. It looked like he was going to pass out. And I walked up to him, and I asked him, did he need any help? Was he okay? And he literally turned, once I got him in actually back on the couch in his home, he said to me, "You're the only person who actually stopped to help me." He said literally he had about 3 or 4 people. There was 2 that drove past, and there was a young couple with a dog, and there was another person as well who literally saw him and just carried on walking past. They just kind of like gave him a bit of a look, and then just carried on walking. And I thought, why would it should be basic human instinct if you see someone in trouble to stop and help them. But a lot of people don't have that, and I just think, like I said, it's just humans this day and age. I don't know what is wrong with them, but people just don't have any time for people now. People just don't have any care or any time for anyone now. It's all about me, 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 and it's just I know life's a big rush, and I know things in life can get on top of you, and I know life in general is hectic. But people have just lost that will and that care, or even just basically have lost that desire to actually show empathy or show any love and care for other people. And I'm not saying it's everyone, because there's millions of people out there that are loving and caring and supportive and so on. But generally speaking, the world is just a lot worse. And honestly, I think it's a massive shame. It is a massive, massive shame. But I don't think it's going to change. I just see people now. Honestly, I find it difficult at times now to bite my tongue when I think people are just being rude. Honestly, it's just like, just bite your tongue, because honestly, there's so many occasions where I could just literally unleash hell on so many of these rude, abrupt people. But it is the way it is, and I've had my little rant. Like I said about like the whole encouragement thing as well. It's one of those things as well where I see so many people now, and you can just tell. I don't know why. I don't know if you guys and girls agree, but sometimes you see people and you can just tell that they're sad. They just look sad, almost like they don't like the way they look, or they don't like their circumstances, and then you kind of like, you get into a chat with them and you end up giving them a compliment and they end up smiling from ear to ear, and you just think you might have made their day, or you might have stopped them from doing something stupid that they might regret, or doing something awful like committing suicide or something, because that one nice comment may just have saved someone's life or something like that. But that's the thing, you don't know people's circumstances, so it's just best to be nice. It's best to be nice, it's best to just encourage, it's best to give love and show love. But guys and girls, give me your thoughts, like and subscribe, be you, be unique, and that's what it's all about, of course, as well. We are all special, we are all important, we are all unique, and you should all be treated like that. Like and subscribe, and I will see you very soon, guys. Thank you ever so much for watching.